Donald Trump is the most controversial person in the United States. Now, as well as being the 45th president and a running candidate for the September elections, a lot of people completely forget that he had his start out in business. And if you're a non-American like me, then you may have actually remembered him from being the frontman of the American show called The Apprentice.
Said off the top of your head.
No, and later on,
thinking.
Christine said that doesn't convey luxury, and I said to Jen, I said, yeah, that probably does not convey luxury.
With a net worth of over $5 billion, it's clear to see that Trump knows a thing or two about business. He runs a slew of high-class chains, for an example, hotels like the Trump International of Washington DC and also New York, and also a slew of golf courses which you may have heard of too, including the Trump National Doral of Miami, the Trump National Golf Club of Bedminster, and both the Trump Turnberry and the Trump International Golf Links, which are both also in Scotland. Now, Trump also owns a bunch of residential properties too. For an example, the famous Trump Tower, and also the Trump Park, and also Park East, which is situated in New York. Including commercial properties too, like the Trump Building on 40 Wall Street of Manhattan, and also he owns a 30% stake in the 555 Californian Street, San Francisco office unit. And another notable one which most people are also known for is the Mar-a-Lago, which is located in Palm Beach, Florida. So as you can tell, we're clearly not going to be talking about politics in this video, so remove your emotions because today we're completely just talking about business. This is everything that I learned from Donald Trump about business, specifically most of which comes from his book Art of the Deal, which has some pretty fascinating takeaways from it. Think big. Trump basically talks about the importance of setting very high ambitions and believing in your own capacity to actually achieve those significant accomplishments. Protect the downside and the upside will take care of itself. Now, before you make a decision, you need to assess the worst that could possibly happen. If you can handle that, then the potential for a positive outcome is worth that risk of the bad thing potentially happening to get the positive from it. Maximize your options. Keep your options open. The more possibilities you have, the better chance of achieving success. Know your market. Understand who you're dealing with and what they particularly want. This is crucial for making deals and negotiating in general. Utilize leverage. We've talked about leverage on this channel and how powerful it is in business. Leverage is critical. Knowing and effectively using your own strengths can make a big difference in a key outcome. Enhance your location. So this is an interesting one. Your location has importance, and making the most out of it is also a key factor too. This is because it can be through the improvement of a location or rebranding. Take from that what you will. Get the word out. So this is about communicating, like spreading your own message. Promotion and publicity are key. We know this with Trump because he's gone crazy viral for doing these obscene things. And also you have things like fake news which just blow it out of proportion too. So he has used this to his own advantage in terms of politics, but we're not talking about politics here. Letting people know about your deal, in business specifically, and your product if you're selling something, so in that case even with e-commerce and dropshipping, and putting it in a positive light is important for its success. Now, there's good publicity and there's bad publicity. Now, a lot of people have shot up to fame really quickly, but they've used some pretty guerrilla marketing tactics to do that, and usually you have a lot of downsides too and a lot of people disliking you, so you've got to weigh those things up. If you can get the word out but keep things as positive as possible, that's usually the key. Fight back. So when you're wronged in a situation, you need to stand up for yourself rather than backing down and letting the issue slide. This goes obviously for everything in life and a multitude of different applications for this, but in terms of business, you don't want to be strong-armed or pressured in a negotiation or backstabbed by a business partner, for example. So these are the two things which I took from this quote. Deliver the goods. So you need to follow through on your promises to maintain credibility and your trustworthiness. Yeah, again, most of the advice coming from this book is applied to most things in life. You want to be someone who can be relied on, you want to be someone whose word actually has substance to it and who people can actually believe, okay? Because your reputation is very hard to build up, but very quick to come down. Now, one quote I always heard of as a kid was "your word is your bond," which basically means you do as you say and say as you do. So that's basically the same as what Trump says in the book. Just basically, if you say something, you better make sure you do it. Contain the costs. So with this, you need to be very mindful of expenses. Keeping costs down can be as important as driving up revenue, okay? Because you're saving in so many different places, so you're making less of a significant loss. And have fun. Enjoy what you do, just like I am right now making this video. Enjoy what you do and have a passion for your work. This is obviously really important. This makes success generally easier. I feel like with e-commerce, I enjoy just doing product research, advertising, learning about competitor stores. Everything's just super fun. It's the same with YouTube when I grew my YouTube channels. It's all stuff that I actually enjoy. Value intuition. So always trust your gut. This is just as important as making analytical business decisions. Sometimes data is reliable information, but trusting yourself is always the most reliable source, in my opinion, and that's basically what Trump's saying here. He discusses the role of instinct in making decisions, and that's how he makes a lot of personal decisions too. Who is he going to relate himself to and be around, and who is he going to position himself to stay as far away from as possible? Focus on the deal. Maintain focus on the deal at hand. And don't be distracted by any external issues or conflict which is trying to take you away from it. Build relationships in business. Okay, this is how most people succeed in life. Life is obviously about relationships, personal and business, but a lot of people, for example, let's use social media as an example, they collaborate with each other to grow quicker, okay? I've never done that, which is why stuff has been really slow and steady for me. So this is good, build relationships, and in terms of business, this is always the best thing to do as well. I've slowly started trying to get people in certain roles. For an example, right now I just have one person doing customer support, but that relieves a lot of workload. You need to build relationships. Trump talks about maintaining those relationships, okay? It's like a flower, you have to water it, you need to work on it. So there's value in those connections, there's value in those networking opportunities, and if you find those people that are loyal to you and you can be loyal back to them, that can be really lucrative long-term in business and just in general. Negotiate from a position of strength, not weakness, okay? So this is common sense, right? You don't want to be strong-armed in a negotiation, you don't want someone to use something against you, and you don't want to get the short end of the deal or the short end of the stick, as it were. You need to always try and position yourself in a kind of way that maximizes your bargaining power in some kind of deal. Don't take any angle which comes from weakness or desperation, because people will smell it. They'll smell blood like a hyena and they'll pounce on it and you'll lose. Be persistent. So, persistence in the face of adversity and setbacks is really important to keep going on, okay? It's that persistence which people have which makes them always reach success. Now, those months where I was not seeing any results in anything to do with YouTube, which was the first venture which I did, and then with dropshipping, but that persistence, I just kept going and going until I reached gold. There's that meme that you see on the internet, or I guess a famous picture, where there's a miner who's mining through the wall to try and reach gold or diamonds, and he walks away just as he's 1 inch of wall away from actually reaching that treasure, okay? And that's how close you are to success. If you walk away and you're not persistent, you will always fail. So this is a good key takeaway from this book. Understand the art of timing. Know when to push forward and when to back away from a deal. There is actually power and art in the takeaway, which is walking away from a deal and taking a position of strength. So this basically works in business, this works in obviously relationships too. It works in a lot of different areas of life where you don't really come to an agreement with a deal, you're not really happy with it, so you don't want to make the deal, so you just walk away from it in a position of strength. And then sometimes they'll come back later and they might say, oh, actually, we'll finish this deal, but we'll do it on your terms. And that's the kind of strength you want to be positioning yourself in. So this is a really interesting point, which I read from the book as well. Reputation precedes you. Okay, so this is like what we said earlier about building a reputation, being reliable, very similar kind of wavelength we're on right now. reputation matters, okay? How you're perceived is really important. How you're perceived by others, it can really impact your ability to broker deals. It's just like online, when people get cancelled, nobody wants to talk to them, nobody wants to relate themselves to them, especially if they've done something bad. It's the same thing in business, right? If you have this bad reputation, maybe you have a reputation for scamming people, not being trustworthy, stabbing people in the back during deals, people will not want to work with you and you won't get the business. So take from that what you will. This is why obviously maintaining that strong positive reputation is paramount, because even though it can be good short term to be self-serving, it's not going to serve you well in the long term if you screw people over. And the last one is adaptability. So you must be flexible, and you must be a kind of person who can adapt to changes and constant iterations in the market. Okay, it's like ebbs and flows. Everything changes from month to month. You need to be able to keep changing and evolving. Just like with YouTube, your channel will always crash and die if you don't change up your content and just do something totally different. Okay, you will hit a roadblock eventually with anything. So this is changes in the market or just generally circumstances in the world of business, because everything is fast paced, everything's changing, there's new theories, new methods of doing everything, new industries coming and going, new players in the game, okay? So that's everything I learned from Donald Trump on business, primarily from his book, Art of the Deal. You can get it linked down below in the description, and click the link, and make sure to like and subscribe for the best e-commerce and dropshipping videos on YouTube, and I'll see you all soon.